Normally, when we put things in a report of not only of Iran, of any member state, we have a dialogue, a conversation about it, because it is, in most of the cases, it refers to something we have found or an opinion we have on something. So the idea is that, in all fairness, because these procedures, the report making is based on a certain procedure, you give a chance to the country in question to put questions or to. This case is different. Here it is a fact. We don't have something that needs interpretation. Here, unfortunately, and this dates to a few years ago, I would say, where, unfortunately, we could determine with all clarity that documents that belong to the agency were in the hands of Iranian authorities, which is bad. And this is part of our assessment on the cooperation. So, the board requested me to provide a comprehensive review on many things, including how they have cooperated. We believe that an action like this is not compatible with the spirit of cooperation. If we are referring to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, as I say quite often, the situation continues to be very fragile, and if anything, for anybody following the conflict, we know that the level of military activity is increasing, not decreasing. And if you have followed our updates, you may have seen that we had to report on further incursions of drones, including in areas inside or very close to the reactors, the training center and other places. So when it comes to the site over there, we continue to believe that the situation is quite fragile. Then you have the rest of the nuclear power infrastructure in Ukraine, where, again, the erosion of the infrastructure in the country continues to have an impact on nuclear safety. You may remember our work on the substations, on the electric and the grid and the substations, because they are the ones feeding the NPPs and facilitating the cooling function. So the situation continues to be a serious one. The concern is that I think we need to be very clear, precisely in order to give the general public an idea that neither exaggerates nor diminishes the meaning of this. And I say it because it is true that enriching uranium per se is not a forbidden activity, which is something my Iranian counterparts always tell me, and they tell the world. So that is true. At the same time, when you accumulate and continue to accumulate, and you are the only country in the world that is doing something like this at a level which is very, very close to the level that you need to have a nuclear explosive device, then we cannot ignore it. It is not per se a forbidden activity, but we cannot ignore at least a coincidence between them and us that in the current circumstances you cannot start any nuclear power plant, or that nuclear power plant in particular, given the accumulation of factors. Well, I was referring right now to the military situation. There are other more technical aspects, like, for example, the availability of enough water to cool down the reactors, or also the availability of sufficient external power supply in a way that is stable, so that you can rest assured that if it's started, there will be no blackout and the plant will be able to operate. We support the bilateral negotiation. We try to help them in any possible way when they ask us to do so. But our process continues. At the same time, we are aware of the fact that the approach, the attitude, the disposition of Iran with regards or vis-à-vis the IAEA or the work with us is, if not dependent, very, very much influenced by what they see on the other process. If they feel, to put it in even more simple terms, if they see progress there, I guess concomitantly they are going to be more cooperative and more active in our process. Syria, very important what we are doing there. It has been a little bit on the back burner for many, many years, but still very relevant because the probe into what had been happening in Syria in the past was sort of, well, I was saying back burner, I can, say frozen. Again, to use a contradictory analogy. We were not being able to complete what we should be doing. And what I requested from President Shara, and he agreed and granted, was an immediate access to Mar Sultan, which is used to be a very important facility where uranium conversion, processing and fuel fabrication for the reactor at Deir al-Zur was taking place. So we were able to go there and complete a very thorough process of sample taking in every part of that facility. And
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.